Well, welcome to the 7 o'clock talk. And recently, we have been treating lots of babies.
For
And
failure to thrive, which failure to thrive in a nursing world is rare. Like, there's very few babies typically that have failure to thrive in past experience. And now we have babies all over the place that are failing to thrive
and passing away.
and passing away.
Not here.
No. And it's actually alarming. And we've had several mothers that can't that can't breastfeed. They've dried up. They don't make enough. They don't make enough supply. They can't nurse. Whatever the reason why is, they all come in and want to know about infant formula. So I
Our,
get up.
our most recent one came in, and the child is so small that it's not actually on the scale. So so it's below where it should be. It's not hitting its markers. It's not sleeping well. It's gassy, colicky, and all of this. Typically,
And
I
it's
can influence that through what the mother is eating. But when, and this is something that's new to me, is the mothers are drying up. So I
well,
turn to you.
and the baby's skin, their skin looks terrible. They are just flaky and dry, and so one of the mothers came and was like, "Hey, can I ask you a question? Did you make your infant formula?" Well, I make our milk. We make milk out of oat milk. We make oat milk and we make almond milk. And I've tended to lead away from the almond milk only because of the
Lectins.
lectins in it. But we try to make our own. So she had all kinds of questions about infant formulas, the clean, organically grown, not genetically modified, blah blah blah
Well,
formulas.
so let's take just a second and let's discuss what is best for babies. So what is
Mother's milk.
best for babies is mother's milk.
And so,
What's in mother's milk?
well, everything that we need. Like I
A
don't. I mean,
whole lot of fat.
like fat, all of your minerals and your. Well, I say that, but in order to get healthy mother's milk, the mother has to be healthy and be eating a good diet and able to um, digest the things that she's eating. And mother's milk will always be best for babies. Babies aren't cows. And so we had a big long conversation because she had all these questions about infant formula. And so I suggested to her, at first I asked because some mothers are opposed to having other mothers make milk for their baby, but babies are not baby cows. They are human babies, and human babies need human milk.
So let's address that stigma for a second. You don't want another person to wet nurse your baby, but yet you will allow another species to wet nurse your baby. How much sense does that make?
Well, and so she was not opposed to that. She had tried to find breast milk from other mothers. She had a mother that was giving breast milk for her baby, but her baby was gassy, and so the this mother is lactose intolerant. So usually that can be genetics and passed down. And so her baby was getting gassy and uncomfortable, so she asked about the diet of that mother, and she's like, "Well, I eat a regular diet." Well, what does that really mean? And if you're eating a standard American diet, you're not eating a good diet. She did have very good intentions, though, to help feed this person's baby. So I suggested she find a new mother to help her, and so she found um, a mother who ate no lactose because she was mindful of that. And
She's also lactose
yeah,
intolerant. So both moms are lactose intolerant.
so she found somebody more like herself. So she immediately um, started paying this lady to pump for her, and her baby now immediately slept through the night.
So usually if if I change the mother's diet, it takes 2 days roughly for the nutrition of the milk to actually start to change to nurse the baby to do better. This mother had already changed her diet, so her milk was already being produced in a more nutritious manner. And so the baby immediately responded, slept through the night for the first time ever, started having better bowel movements, went from the parents are like, oh my God, it's a whole new baby. The baby is not crying. The baby. So when she would nurse the baby before, or feed the baby before, I should say, when she would feed the baby before, the baby would eat for a few seconds and then fuss and then have to stop and whatnot. And she said, the baby is eating the entire bottle without stopping and then will burp and go to sleep. Whereas before it would burp and then just fuss and cry and wail.
Well, and so I asked her what she was actually looking for, and she was looking at infant formulas, which I haven't been a new mom for a very long time, and I didn't give my second child any formula. So I've never even really looked at an ingredient list. So I went and pulled the infant formula that she was thinking about sourcing for her child, and it's marketed as a clean organic option for babies. So its name was Bobby. I pulled it. I got the ingredient list, and I was horrified by the ingredient list because as holistic thinking individuals, and we're very mindful of the ingredients that are in food. I looked at this ingredient list and thought, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have given that to an animal, let alone a newborn baby. So they tout it's organic, but they remove the fat from the milk. So it's non fat milk, organic non fat milk, organic high oleic safflower or sunflower. Those two oils are very cheap, highly processed, and are highly inflammatory. The next ingredient,
Hold on. And they, when you heat them, they oxidize and become a poor oil form. And
they're
they're oxidized and they cause free radicals. So remember, mother's milk has a very high fat content. The brain is mostly fat, and then it has lots of what are called immuno, human and HMOs. And those HMOs feed the gut bugs, and those are also proteins.
well, the next oil it's full of oil, rapeseed oil, which rapeseed oil, and I printed off some things, so we'll go back through and talk about some of the bad things. But they rapeseed oil is unstable. It's a cheap fat. It actually will release toxins in the body. Um, let's see, it's got all kinds of coconut oil, palm oil, and then of course you get into all of the um, vitamins and minerals and all the stabilizers. There's probably 50 ingredients on there. I'm going to guess most of them are cheap oils. So I went through just the oils because I'm like, why would you pull out the fat of the milk only to add cheap fats,
Oil. Yeah.
oils back in? So safflower oil, I just took them. It's high in omega-6 fatty acids. It increases inflammation. Um, it increases, if you just take the oils out individually, it increases inflammation in the body. It increases your risk of chronic diseases. It, and safflower oil actually interferes with the blood's clotting abilities. It is a super cheap source of fat, and it's highly modified. So that's safflower oil. Rapeseed oil. It oxidizes when you put it in heat. Highly inflammatory. It's genetically modified. It'll actually create toxins in the body. And of course, again, it's a very cheap source of fat.
And that one is produced with hexane, and hexane is toxic. So you don't want hexane touching your food.
Now, sunflower oil is in every single infant formula, even the homemade ones, and I'm like, why? I went to research that a little more, and they consider that of all of the oils, it's the easiest to digest and considered to be um, not if there's going to be an allergic reaction, it would be the least of
Oh, it's a
the oils that
hypoallergenic
would cause allergies. They don't call it hypoallergenic, but it's the least um,
reaction causing.
common reaction calming sunflower oil. So sunflower oil is highly inflammatory. It increases your risk of heart disease and cancer. It releases toxin aldehydes in the body. It's unstable when you put it to heat, but it is a very, very cheaply sourced fat. So I'm
And all
looking.
of those are omega 6s. So in the nutritional realm, omega 3s are anti-inflammatory, omega 6s are pro-inflammatory, as are omega 9s. And the American diet has plenty of 6s and 9s, has very few omega 3s.
Well, and every single one of these, they don't really have anything about highly nutritious to your infant. It's always cost effective on every single one of these. Cost effective. So an infant can of formula costs. So this Bobby, I think the infant formula cost, what did we say, it was $25 for a can. And so to compare that with paying somebody for their milk, so this mother, she was going to have to pay 75 cents an ounce for the milk, which at whatever you need to do to give your baby the best start in life, it was three times, so it was $75 for I don't know how many ounces. We'll say 100 ounces,
Well, so
and the can was $25. So it was three times the cost of infant formula. So I went online and I thought, why does everybody buy this?
well let me step back a second. You're going to pay because you're going to bring your child to me or someone like me and say, "What's wrong with my child?" And then I'm going to sit here and bill you for my time. You're going to get billed for medications if you go to the medical doctor.
Well, yeah, that's what
They're going to get PPIs, which
that's
are
what I
going
was
to
going to
cause
say.
other problems. And you're going to put that baby into the what I call the medical merry-go-round, and it just starts off bad in life because we want to save a few pennies on formula and we don't actually connect the dots between the nutrition and the health of the baby.
Well, and this is where you get into uh, children with eczema. Like, if the body can't
Eczema,
process,
colicky. Um, if they're not colicky, they're very fussy. They
their
don't
acid
sleep.
reflux.
Oh,
I mean, and then they come in and then they have a Pepsid, a PPI, because they think that's going to help. But when you suppress the gastric acids of the stomach, now they have the inability to digest it. They don't have the ability to pull the iron out, and now they're anemic, and now you're adding iron. Anyway, we suggested she find a mother with breast milk. And I'm like, if your baby's going to be gassy, wouldn't you rather your baby be gassy on mother's milk and not cow's milk? And then we suggested that she add enzymes, not just to her life, but her children's, and babies can take that as well. So I went online and I thought, surely there has to be an infant formula that you can make yourself. But I also was like, why are we not freeze drying mother's milk and sharing
yeah.
that?
That's a
And
million dollar idea for somebody, $1 billion idea.
so when I went to research this, lots of mothers are actually freeze drying their own milk for their children to continue consuming, and or holding it back for more infants. But the biggest thing was is, oh well, they can't. guarantee there's no viruses or anything in the milk. Okay, well, you can. I see mothers all the time on a mother's site that share their milk. I don't think any mother that is concerned with the health of their infant cares where that milk is coming from, as long as it's coming from a healthy mother that is not ingesting alcohol or drugs or prescriptions. And lots of mothers are kindly sharing this overabundance, or maybe their infant is no longer here, but they still want to use the milk that they were given. And so, why not freeze dry that and share that? They did talk about mother's milk is so highly concentrated with fat, like he was saying, that you have to heat it up and stir it a lot before it reconstitutes, which is a good thing.
Yep.
So I went online to find a homemade baby formula. Now, am I saying you should do this? No, I'm just saying that I found one, and this comes from a holistic natural medicine,
Dr. Jockers.
functional nutritionist, corrective care chiropractor. So this is a chiropractor who has functional training and thought about why are we giving these children toxic chemicals and not trying to do something better. So this one actually has 13 ingredients. The only ingredient on here that I've looked at that I do not like is, again, the sunflower oil. There has to be a better oil. It does have coconut oil,
Cod
olive
liver
oil,
oil.
butter oil, cod liver oil. It has nutritional yeast. It has probiotics, acerola powder. I'm not quite sure what this is. I did not research any of these ingredients because I know most of them. Um, it has a digestive aid to help break down lactose because it does have heavy cream, raw, whole, grass fed cow's milk. Um, and then they add lactose to that along with collagen powder and filtered water. So they use this actually to help feed their twin boys. But there are infant formula recipes out there, so you can make your own. Um, I would highly suggest people researching this, especially if you have a baby that's failing to thrive and has all of the issues like reflux and eczema. These poor babies. We eat this as adults, and an average adult is 150 to 200 pounds, and it's causing autoimmune issues, it's causing skin issues, it's causing all kind of chronic diseases. Why babies are so tiny, and yet this is their sustenance? Like, this is alarming.
America is fat phobic. And if we're talking about confinement fed cows, then yeah, their beef, their meat, their fat is not of the highest quality. That's very true. But in study after study after study, they're the people who have the highest cholesterol live the longest functionally. So they can do everything that they want to do, and they live the longest lives that they live. The longest lived people in the world are in Georgia, Russia, and they have a very high quality, high fat diet. Fat is not what we should be afraid of. What's going to stun you, and you may or may not know this, what you should be afraid of is sugar. Sugar oxidizes the fats and it kills you from the inside out. It's a very slow death. And when you start to mix sugar with gluten, with colors, with artificial crap, you are concocting a very dangerous, slow killing poison.
Which is 100% of our processed food. It all has salt, it all has sugar, and it all has highly processed oils,
and they are
cheap oils.
crap. And people, I, I don't know why there's blowback on on social media, Facebook, social media. I see people saying, "Oh, seed oils are just fine." No, they're not. They're oxidized. Typically, they're sixes and nines, maybe 12s. But when we look at these and we look at what they do over time, what they do to the body is nasty. And let me tell you how important omega-3 fatty acids in a good form are to you. You can still eat your sixes and your nines, and your body will preferentially go to the threes and use them first, allowing you to pass the six, nines, and 12s. That's how important it is to you. So if you think that eating these oils is something that you can get away with, you can't. And it will catch up with you, especially if you're not getting good omega-3 content. If you don't know what your omega-3 fatty acids are, then you're in trouble. Because the typical American is a 4.3 and you should be an 8. The typical Hoosier is a 3. And once we start to see those low numbers, things break down. Poor cell health, poor immune function, all kinds of things.
Well, what's really sad about that in the Midwest is there everybody's a beef eater, typically beef and potatoes, and they should be getting plenty of good omegas, which tells us that the quality of that beef
Is not.
is not.
So
And for people that are like, oh, I don't have time for that, I guess it's going to take you 10 minutes to mix up your infant formula. This doctor fed his twin boys on this formula, and the prep time is 20 minutes. 20 minutes to make enough formula for two babies. And I make oat milk and we make mayonnaise. Mayonnaise takes like 2 minutes to make. We make our own milk and it takes less than 15 minutes.
if you don't make time now and you don't make time to take care of that later in life, you won't have to worry about it
Yeah,
because
because
you're
all
not
you're
going to
going to
have,
have is time.
yeah, because you're going to be in a nursing home, you're going to be in a wheelchair.
And then you're going to be incapable of actually doing anything to benefit yourself. You're literally going to have nothing but time in a chair.
Yep. And somebody else is going to pick the foods that you eat. Somebody else is going to pick the times you get your shower. Somebody else is going to pick the times when you got to go exercise. Getting old in America is like going to prison. And you can help your babies
Well,
and
and
help yourselves.
a baby is only a baby for a little while, and everything that you feed that child in the first year of life sets it up for the rest of its life.
Yep.
So if you have to forego your cup of coffee or your gym time or whatever is 20 minutes, I don't know. It doesn't say how long that lasts, how many ounces that is. But if you have to spend 20 minutes to create your own infant formula to make bottles, that's only 10 minutes more than you would have spent anyway
Well,
mixing
this
formula.
is this is 4 cups of liquid at least, because you're looking at 2 cups of filtered water and then 2 cups of
So
whole
probably
raw.
about 100 ounces.
Yeah, you're
So
gonna
you're
have quite a
basically
bit.
making a can of formula.
And it's if you have questions, we've gone kind of long on this. So if you have questions, reach out to Integrated Health of Indiana. You can reach her at mrsindianabackdock@gmail.com. You can reach me at Dr. Miller, Dr. Miller at integratedhealthofindiana.com. We're here to help you. We want healthy human beings.
Well, and we're also not here to judge. We're here
Oh
to
no.
support. We're just trying to share with you what we've learned. There's better options than a can of Nutramigen or Similac or whatever the formula brand. There's better options. There's um, there's mothers who pump and share. There are homemade infant formulas. There's all kinds of options.
Think about this. In the most recent survey, 70% of people applying to the military were unfit to serve. That is because of our food system. And our food system is broken, and it's all based on cost. It's all not based on quality. It's based on how cheaply can we make it. And look at, as our expense on groceries has gone down, our expense on medications has gone up. That's an actual statistic. And so you have to pay attention to what you're eating. And if you're 30 and 40, hey, I didn't start actually paying attention to what I ate until I was in my 40s. And so by that point in time, I was hypertensive, pre-diabetic, obese, and I changed it slowly over time as I learned things. And anybody can do this. And so, since this is about babies, you have to do it for your babies, because if you don't take care of that, especially while that brain is growing so rapidly when they're infants, that requires a lot of DHA, which is an omega-3 fatty acid. You got to have that in there so the brain can properly develop.
Well, and nutrition begins prior to that baby's birth. You are the machine that's going to supply the baby with its milk. So you
Mom
want to
and
be
dad.
healthy. Um, and another tidbit that when I was reading through here, um, we liked the bacteria. So right before a woman delivers, her intestines become permeable, and it allows out a specific bacteria strain that then moves through
Lactobacilli.
the body and stores itself near the nipples, so that when the baby first latches on, it gets seeded with a bacteria. That bacteria actually is proven to protect women from breast cancer. And if you nurse your child, it protects 4 generations into the future from cancers, which I thought was fascinating. So, um, everybody should nurse. Mother's milk is best. If you're having a hard time or you're struggling, it's not easy, but it's worth it. And there's lots of people out there, lactation consultants, lactation nurses, um, and there's lots of support for people that want to nurse. So,
There's help. It's ask.
yeah,
It's not a shame. You won't be judged. If you are judged, you're at the wrong place. Ask.
yeah.
We want you to be healthy. We want you to thrive. And we want your family to thrive. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for taking this time to look into the health of you and your loved ones. This broadcast does not constitute a doctor-patient relationship. It is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not a replacement or substitute for care. If you are having issues, please seek a qualified professional trained in functional medicine. We would be happy to be of assistance with both in-person and virtual consultations. Thank you.